Hey folks, this is Matt Rainwater, and today, new character design. You guessed it. Um, so last time we did Loretta's familiar, and now we're gonna do Bella's familiar, because I decided that within this story that I'm developing, Bella, which I'll show y'all that character real quick to refresh your memory. This is Bella. So like Bella, I decided is also going to be a witch, like Loretta. Um, uh, and so Bella's gonna have a familiar as well, which is gonna be a little Chihuahua. I think I'm gonna name the Chihuahua Bo. That is general conceit here. Been doing a lot of studies. There was a time where I was like, maybe one of the familiars will be a ferret, but I decided against a ferret. Mostly because I want there to be a chihuahua. That's usually how that goes. Um, that's just the creative process in a nutshell. You go, feeling more chihuahua. Now, we're doing something a little different today, which is that I'm doing more of the drawing process, which I don't usually do. I usually just show you all the inking process, but I figured I'll do it differently today, and I'll give you a quick explanation of why I usually don't want to do the drawing process. And the explanation for that is um, basically it uses a lot of brain power for me to do like drawing because there's a lot of like little changes that I'm doing while I'm drawing. Um, it's kind of complicated for my brain to both draw and in talk at the same time. But at the same time, I do want y'all to be able to see, all the different steps in my creative process. So I could be very wrong about this. I considered like, you know what, maybe this drawing will be kind of easy. Um, just a little chihuahua. There's not that much to draw this time, so why not do it differently, right? And we'll see how it goes today. I may not like it. I may decide, I'm not going to do this ever again. We'll just play it by ear. And with all that said, um, there you go, so right now I'm going to design those little, like, he's also going to have a sigil thing like Lars does. Um, I don't know, though. I'm trying to figure out what kind of shape do I want for it. That See, this is exactly, so like I was saying, this is exactly where I don't want to talk. Because it requires that brain power where I'm just like, okay. Like, I can't think shapes with words. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like, it's a funny thing about the human mind, but I've learned that a, a lot of the way in which my brain works, it's very difficult um, to think with words. I can't even properly say what I'm trying to say. Like, to think with words what I'm trying to say with shapes. Does that make sense? Well, I guess I got through it, so we'll move on. What I really want to talk about is a movie that I saw last night that I really enjoyed. and the name of that movie was 3,000 Years of Longing. Um, I'm a pretty big fan of a lot of other movies by George Miller. Um, if you recognize that name at all, you probably recognize him as the director for the Mad Max movies. So he did the first Mad Max, he did Beyond Thunderdome, he did Fury Road, but he also did this little movie that I really enjoy called Babe. Babe is, for anybody who grew up in the 90s, uh, Babe was this children's movie about a pig who becomes a sheep herder. It's a really unusual movie. It was kind of a big deal. One of the main ways that it was promoted in the 90s was like as a special effects thing, because like in the 90s, um, that was kind of how you promoted movies. Was like, oh my God, look at the special effects for this movie. We're doing this and this and this. And so for Babe, it was like, oh, we've got seemingly realistic looking talking animals, because like the animals would talk to each other, and they did some kind of special effects trick where their moves, I mean, their mouths, their mouths moved. Some, I mean, I haven't watched the movie in a while, so it might look like crap nowadays. But their mouths moved in a way that was pretty convincing. And it wasn't like CGI. I don't think it was CGI. I don't know what they did. That's beyond the scope of this conversation. Um, their mouths moved in a way that was pretty convincing when I was a kid. I don't know if I watched it again, I might be like, "Oh, this looks like crap." But anyway, that's not really the important part with that movie. The important part is that the story was really good. Not just as like a children's movie, but just as a general story. And kind of the more I've come to understand George Miller as like a storyteller, the more that I've appreciated him, because he had another movie that I cannot remember the name of that I also really liked, and it'll come back to me eventually, but it is not right now. But nevertheless, hold on, y'all. I need to. I'm not gonna. This is not gonna get accomplished right now. I wanted to look at some reference for Chihuahua because I want to know what a Chihuahua's nose looks like more appropriately. So anyway, what I was saying was George Miller has made some pretty good movies. And so I found out that he was making this movie called 3,000 Years of Longing. And the movie's basically about this woman who is, very academic scholar, a literary scholar. In the movie, she calls herself a narratologist. I don't know if that's like a real thing, but by the way, Chihuahuas have little kind of pig noses that are really cute. Anyway, she's a narratologist, so like she's basically, like a professor who studies story. And in this movie, she goes to a foreign country that I'm not actually, the movie doesn't actually say what country she goes to. It's I think it seemed like it was either Turkey or somewhere in that region of the world, somewhat Middle Eastern Mediterranean region. And while there, a friend buys her a gift, which is like this bottle that she's kind of in love with the design of. It's something about the bottle has caught her attention, and she discovers that in the bottle is a genie who's been trapped there for a long time. Presumably, by the title of the movie, you would assume 3,000 years. And most of the movie is about the genie telling his story about like how he got trapped in the bottle, how he got the multiple times in which he got trapped in the bottle, and it's a rather brilliant way of telling a story, and it's extremely captivating. I I really liked it, and it's this weird kind of little love story, basically. I'll leave it at that. Clearly, there's a lot more that there's a lot more that goes on in the movie, and the movie hits on a lot of themes that I really enjoy. Themes about like why storytelling is important, why we as humans love stories. Um, and it does it in a way that is very beautiful, for lack of a better word. I think that's the only word that really matters. And so I highly recommend it to y'all if y'all need like just a good movie to watch. If you enjoyed Sandman, and I think I previously talked about Sandman. If you really enjoyed Standman, if you enjoyed Standman, I don't know why I find that so funny, but it's really funny to me. Um, you'll really enjoy 3,000 Years of Longing. All right. So looking at some reference for chihuahuas, their legs do not actually do this necessarily. They're kind of more bow-legged the way they stand. But, I mean, we could take artistic liberty, can't we? Because it makes it doing this and what I want the idea I want to get across with the way that he's standing is I want to get across the idea that he's this tiny little vulnerable chihuahua. He's so defenseless. God help him. That's what I'm trying to do here within the character design. Much in the same way that, something I'm trying to portray in this character design for Lars, right? I'm trying to portray that he kind of doesn't care. There's sort of a nonchalantness, which is typical of all cats because they're all sociopaths. But anyway, I'll leave out my unruly bias against cats. Not that I have anything. Cats love me. This is the funny thing about cats. Cats love me, and I'll get along with them. But I'm not a cat person. Like, I don't want to ever own a cat. I've taken care of a cat in the past. It was fine. The cat loved me and largely dominated me, much like the cat's owner. And that's fine. But I'm good. Wouldn't want to do it again. I'm more of a dog person, and dogs also seem to have an affinity towards me, and I have an affinity towards dogs because the rules are simple. Uh, that's exactly what it is. The rules with dogs are simple. Feed me, pet me, um, let's go for a walk. Otherwise, whatever. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that social contract. The simplicity is extremely. I mean, not that cats also have a relatively simple social contract. They, however, have a greater tendency towards doing chaotic things. Dogs do chaotic things too, though. Cats just lash out more. And they know they can get away with it too. That's the worst part. Hey, everybody, in the comments, are you a cat person or a dog person? Or are you neither? Maybe you're not a mammal person at all. Maybe you're birds. I understand that. I tried to take care of a bird once when I was a child and did not do a very good job of it. Uh, the bird got out of the cage and flew away. Um, really hated that experience as a child because I felt like I failed that bird. Because who knows what happened? Who knows? Okay, who knows what happened after that bird got out is what I'm saying. Just, there's a random parakeet, you know, just flying around Louisiana. Alright. I have a very difficult time with legs and feet for four-legged animals. Um, I get the general idea of it, but I'm not great at it. Okay. See, I think I'm gonna make his eyes just pupils. And then extend the snout. The snout needs to be extended big time. Not that big time. Maybe like that. I don't know. This might be. He almost looks like a too piggish, too gremlinish. Doesn't have enough of a snout. Although there are many chihuahuas that look that way. Let's see. Just feel like something just is not complete. This is the other reason why I don't usually talk with y'all while doing the. Ironically, because this is called talk and draw, right? The drawing phase of things is because it usually takes a lot longer because I end up like, you know, going back on things and adjusting things and changing things, etc. I don't know. Eyes need to be closer together. It's all falling apart. Head's too big. Or not. Yeah, maybe the head is too big, actually. Just like, you know, as I'm putting this together, it's like there are clearly things that are standing out as like this is incomplete in some way. Needs to be, dang it, adjusted. See, adjusting the ears here. This is that place between success and failure. It's not my favorite place to be sometimes. That's why I'm narrating this like it's a golf championship. Matt only has 5 strokes left to make to complete this drawing. It's actually way more than 5, but that's better. Upside down. Oh, it actually looks better upside down. Alright. I am going to do some adjustments here on this little guy's feet. Because I just feel like, I don't know, I feel like something is not quite. Maybe the ears need to be perkier? Maybe that's what it is. Although I kind of like, I like that they're not at the same angle. And then I would change something about his eyes. Make them more like I want it. Especially, I've seen this a lot with toy poodles where it's just like, or not poodles, chihuahuas. Where it's like they can barely keep their eyes open. They have this expression on their face like the wonder of the world is so immense and uncontrollable and out of their hands that they can't even properly look at it, like they're stoned by existence itself. I assume you all hear that. There's somebody in the hall working on God knows what. That's my apartment complex. Anyway, I guess that's a signal that I should probably cut this video short. Hold on. I want to do one more thing before I go. It's so loud. Like, what are they doing? Good lord. Somebody's building a robot in my apartment. So, anyway. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to mess around with this some more. And we will talk again soon. Y'all have a good one. And later.